Penguins, Flyers, first round of the playoffs. You can't ask for much better. Let's hop right into it. Both teams this season not expected to make it this far, but I think it sets up for a pretty exciting first round series. Don't you? Both teams finished the season with 98 points. Of course, Pittsburgh ended up clinching the second spot in the Metro because of more regulation wins. The highest scorer on the Penguins, Sidney Crosby, 29 goals, 45 assists, 74 points in 68 games. He hasn't aged one bit. Travis Konechny, the highest scorer on the Flyers, 27 goals, 41 assists, 68 points in 77 games. As for the goaltending, Flyers definitely have an advantage here. Dan Vladar has had an excellent season, and he is going to be the game one starter. 29 goals, 14 assists, or 29 wins, 14 losses, 7 overtime losses, 242 goals against, and a 906 save percentage. He's been a lot of the reason the Flyers are here right now, and I'll get more into that when I get into that. As for the Penguins, it's hard to say who's going to be the game one starter. My guess would be it's going to be Stuart Skinner, but I think he really could go either way with either of these guys. Artur Shilovs, he has 19 wins, 12 losses, 8 overtime losses, 307 goals against, with an 888 save percentage. Stuart Skinner, on the other hand, has a 12-9-5 record, 299 goals against average, and an 885 save percentage. And so really, I don't think there's a whole lot difference when it comes to playing Skinner or Shilovs. I think it's just a goalie tandem that, I mean, maybe you could do a rotation, keep both guys fresh. I don't know if that's necessarily the greatest idea in the world, because typically teams run one goaltender in the playoffs and that's it. But, I think if the Penguins needed that option, if one or the other plays poorly in a game or two, I think you have the option to pull one and get pretty decent goaltending from the other. Of course, Stuart Skinner has been there before. He's made deep cup runs in the past, of course, past 2 years with Edmonton. Skinner has also tended to not play the best in early games of the series. But you know what? I think this is going to be a total wild card of a series. I really do. I think both teams are. I I don't want to say evenly matched, but they're pretty close, all things considered. But yeah, I think it'll be Dan Vladar in game one for the Flyers. I don't think there's any question about that. I don't really think you're going to see Ersson very much, if at all. However, I do think there are definitely some X factors. I think Porter Martone for the Flyers, he has fit that team like a glove. He's been perfect for that system. I also think Sean Couturier is going to be a bit of an X factor, bit more of a defensive forward. Of course, he'll most likely be tasked with taking on Sidney Crosby and trying to shut him down as best he can. And then for the Penguins, I think Benjamin Kindle, I think he's an X factor in this series. I think he's the kind of guy who can definitely get a goal and it's going to maybe turn the tide of an entire game. I think he's that kind of guy. And then I think another X factor would be Parker Wotherspoon. He's been really good for the Penguins this season. He's kind of unlocked Erik Karlsson's full potential where he has, kind of played a bit more back, but he is allowed Karlsson to be the offensive defenseman that he is and has kind of sort of gotten back to that Norris form that we've seen from him in the past. I think Parker Wotherspoon has been an excellent complement to Erik Karlsson. And so for that reason, yeah, I think he is a really good X factor in this series. And as a result, I think how those four guys play throughout the series, I think that's going to determine a big part on how this series goes. Now, when we get into the special teams aspect, that's when things start to tilt more in the Penguins' favor, as the Penguins have both a top 10 power play and a top 10 penalty kill. Man, I can't talk today. The Penguins power play, they sit at 24.1%. The Penguins penalty kill sits at 81.4%. Both are top 10 good. The Flyers, on the other hand, they're not as fortunate. The Flyers have a bottom half penalty kill unit at 77.6%, and the worst power play in the league at 15.7%. And at times, it really feels like this power play hinders them more than helps them, whether they just don't get any momentum off the power play or they give up a shorthanded goal, whatever it may be. It really feels like that power play doesn't tend to help them out a lot. So I think that's where things tilt more in the Penguins' favor here when you look at this series. In terms of goals, both teams are pretty even, if you ask me. The Penguins are top 10 good in goals for, but they're bottom half bad in goals against. They've scored 290 goals for and 258 goals against. As I said, bottom half bad, top 10 good. The Flyers, on the other hand, they're the opposite. They are top 10 good in goals against, and they are bottom half bad in goals for. They've scored 240 goals for, and they've given up 239 goals against. So really, I think this is going to be one of those series where we see one team dominate one game, we see another team dominate the next. Maybe you'll see a 2-1 overtime victory one game, a 3-2 overtime victory the next. It's really impossible to guess where this series is going to go, and I think this has potential to be one of, if not the best series that we're going to see here in the first round. However, with that being said, I'm wearing the Penguins jersey for a reason. One, because I'm a Penguins fan, and two, I think the Penguins are going to win this series. I'm going to go with the Penguins here in 6. I will be giving reaction videos to every game in this series and throughout the Penguins playoff run. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, those are my predictions. I plan to make playoff predictions here soon. Probably Saturday is when that video will come out if I had to take a guess. But yeah, overall, those are my predictions. That's how I view this series. And have a great day.